Good evening and welcome to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Nwachukwu and these are the top stories. Court stops NLC TUC nationwide strike. NLC President Joe Ajaro reveals what happened in Imo State. Frankenbar gave status report on Imo State. IGP orders investigation into alleged brutalization of NLC President Ajaro. Fani Kaide discloses obedience will be obsolete by 2027. Details now. We begin with the National Industrial Court of Nigeria today issuing an order of interim injunction stopping members of organized labor, including the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, the Trade Union Congress, and their affiliates from proceeding with the nationwide strike scheduled to commence on November 14. VOP News understands that the president of the court, Justice Benedict Kanyip, issued the order today while ruling on an ex parte application. The application was brought before the court by the Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the federal government and argued by Tijani Ghazali, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who also disclosed as well concerning the situation in Imo State. The application, which was brought on behalf of the federal government, was argued by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Acting Director Civil Appeals, Federal Ministry of Justice. Justice Kanyip said the order shall subsist until the determination of a motion on notice for interlocutory injunctions equally filed by the AGF. The judge said the court is empowered under sections 7 subsection 1 and 19 subsection A of the NIC and Establishment Act to hear such ex parte application and grant such ex parte order where a strike is threatened but yet to be commenced, as is in this case. Recall that the NLC and the Trade Union Congress leadership had declared the total nationwide strike after an extraordinary National Executive Council meeting on Tuesday in Abuja. The organized labor unions, following the announcement, have commenced mobilization of members and allies across the country. The decision was reached by the NLC and TUC after the brutalization of the NLC National President Joe Ajaro last week in Imo State. There had been widespread outrage by the organized labor, accusing the former Commissioner of Police in Imo State, Mohammed Balade, of complicity in the recent attack on Ajaro in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The organized labor last Friday handed the federal government a 5-day ultimatum to replace Balade, while also blaming the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma for the attack on Ajaro. The governor, however, had since said he had no hand in the attack on the labor leader. Meanwhile, the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajaro, has narrated his experience in Imo State following the assault on him during a planned protest on workers' conditions in the state. Now, the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, while narrating his experience, stated earlier today during a press conference in Abuja that he was arrested by police operatives in Imo State. The NLC president added that it was the police who then handed him over to thugs who beat him severely and dragged him on the ground. According to him, he was dragged on the ground by the thugs, numbering about 7. He added that some of the workers who arrived earlier at the venue of the protest on that day around 7 a.m. were beaten up by thugs and, of course, had their phones seized. Ajaro explained that he got to the venue around 9 a.m. after he got the report of an assault on workers. In his words, "I can't explain the beating I received. They tied my hands and dragged me on the floor like a common criminal." End quote. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police in charge of Imo State's governorship election, Frankenbar, has said there would be a level playing ground for all contestants on the polls. Bimba promised actually that the police and other security agencies would do the right thing and abide by the law. Bimba gave the assurance earlier today while speaking to newsmen in Owerri, the Imo State capital. He told media and observer groups deployed to monitor the election that politicians known for causing trouble or crisis during elections would not be allowed to have their way during the Imo gubernatorial poll. He said that police officers have been deployed to strategic areas across the state. The IG Mba also said that some unnamed politicians were being watched and monitored. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Ijeoma Egwuatu, today ordered investigations into the circumstances surrounding the alleged assault on the President of the National Labour Congress, Ijeoma Egwuatu. Announcing the development in a statement made today, the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumiyiwa Adejobi, detailed that the IGP had ordered the Deputy Inspector General in charge of the Force Criminal Investigation Department to take over the matter with the primary objective of ascertaining the facts surrounding the incident and to address any ambiguities that may exist. The IGP in the statement assured the labor union that the police would conduct a thorough and unbiased inquiry to provide clarifications. Now, former Aviation Minister Femi Fani-Kayode has stated that no one will remember obedient supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi in the 2027 general elections. Making his forecast in a post yesterday, the former Aviation Minister, who tagged Obi supporters as a bunch of self-serving and lawless psychopaths, said that they would have been dumped and relegated by the 2027 election. According to him, and I quote, "Truth is that the obedience are nothing but a bunch of self-serving, self-seeking, lawless, feral psychopaths who are motivated by religious and ethnic bigotry. By 2027, no one will remember them because by then they would have been dumped and relegated into the foul-smelling and notoriously filthy dustbin of history. By 2027, an obedient will be regarded as nothing but an affliction." Fani-Kayode suggested that Peter Obi and his support base were yet to get over their devastating defeat at the polls. He stated, however, that 5 months down the line, he and his camp have not been able to get over their devastating trouncing at the polls and are still smarting from the pain. They did not even manage to come second in the election, but instead came third. End quote. You do recall that the obedient movement, which rose to fame in the build-up to the 2023 general election, changed the political narrative of the country. Now, to speak on this and other issues on the world news at 6, I actually have on the telephone Mr. Darlington. Mr. Darlington is a legal practitioner, also a social affairs and political affairs commentator. Mr. Darlington, good evening and welcome to VOP World News at 6.
Yeah, Esther, good evening, and how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for eventually picking my calls. I've been calling you since I started the news. Mr. Darlington, I don't know, what is your take on what Femi Fani-Kayode said, describing the obedience as feral psychopath who would be obsolete or relegated by 2027?
I think by now, people should stop listening to Fani-Kayode.
Okay.
He is looking for rehabilitation. You know, when anybody wants to please Tinubu now, when they want to massage his ego, they will look for P2B or Labour Party members to insult, to say things so that Tinubu will know that he has supporters. Meanwhile, they are deliberately waiting, looking for a way to get appointment. Mm-hmm. You know, Fani-Kayode, he has waited for too long. Nobody have appointed him. So the best way to attract attention is to start saying these things he's saying, so that Tinubu will know that he's around. There's nothing else.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Darlington. Now let's look at the intelligence community warning Nigeria's Supreme Court to remove President Tinubu. I do recall that during the time before the Supreme Court ruling on October 26, there were several speculations concerning how the ruling on the Supreme Court will go. Others actually thought that when the Supreme Court gave its ruling based on the evidence presented, supposedly gotten by the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate and his legal team, that the evidence was strong and tidy enough to overturn whatever certainty that the ruling All Progressives Congress had concerning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Eventually, when the ruling was given, it did not go the way a couple of opposition political parties expected it would be. But this international communities organized, some individuals, especially Nigerians in diaspora, organized protests talking about the fact that it was very important based on the CSU certificate imbroglio, the drug peddling and other issues which the FBI already had on files against him, that it was important for the Supreme Court not to rule in favor of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Supreme Court has eventually won, But these international communities are still asking that the court should, as much as possible, dissolve the rule of the president for Nigeria to have possibly a direction. Do you think that is possible this time around? And regardless of how Nigerians feel with the current reality on ground, is it possible to say that time should be given for whatever works in the pipe are already being put in place by the president to materialize?
Esther, it will definitely be a possibility, because if they continue to say things like this, the international community will have no choice than to listen to them. You know, I told you, criminal matters do not die, especially the type that we are talking about here. The people that committed crime against humanity in Nazi Germany as far back as 1945, they are still holding them up to today. So what happened in Nigeria is not something anybody can wish away. They are doing it because we are here in Nigeria, but the outside world, they are not happy with Nigerian government as I speak to you now. They are not happy because they saw what happened. They saw what transpired. Remember, when Nancy Maldonado was giving that judgment, he told the CSU that they should release those documents to Nigeria, that it is left for Nigerian people to do what they want to do with it. Because he has been receiving so many inquiries that he receives up to 30 inquiries a day because of this matter, that they should release all the documents and give it to Nigerian government and Nigerian people. That's what she said. So for them to have gone this far, to even tell us what is happening in our country, and after revealing all those secrets, yes, somebody said we should move on. We should move on. It is not possible, Esther. It is not possible.
Why would you say it's not possible, Mr. Darlington? Because when we extemporate on issues like this, let's give a logical breakdown on why some things will not be possible and why some things will be possible. I recall before the Supreme Court ruling, a couple of persons, especially persons like you, were quite certain as to how the narrative will build up to a certain expectation on the ruling of the Supreme Court. Also, all the critics and all the analysts too, those for and those against, had their different perspective through which the Supreme Court will go. But majority of the people kind of felt that, the Supreme Court will definitely declare the president as the winner. So when you say some things are not possible, can you give a breakdown of how these things, these factors that would make it not possible?
Fine. You see, in matters like this, the international community are not fools.
Okay.
They are waiting for Nigerian people to react so that they will not lend their own support. If we all keep quiet, it will not mean that we accepted what has happened. And the shame will be on all of us. That is why these people abroad, these Nigerians in diaspora, have taken it up. Because they have wanted for us to do so, and nobody saying anything in Nigeria. We have accepted the infamy that was imposed on us. And that is why people outside here are not happy, and they will never be happy. I am telling you, as long as Tinubu remains in office, this particular matter will be haunting him, even after he leaves office. That is why I've been saying it, that anybody who loves Tinubu should tell him to speak up and clear his name, if it is possible for him to do that. But for him to keep quiet and think it does not matter because he's not a Nigerian president, it is not possible. Esther, in time to come in future, somebody will look at all this evidence that was brought from the US and they will shoot Tinubu's presidency down. I am telling you.
Okay, let me describe something to you, Mr. Darlington. So, one of the spokesperson of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Onanuga, as well as Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Festus Keyamo, and a couple of persons in the camp of the APC, have said that most of the narrative against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a PR stunt from his opposition. They have succeeded in creating a mindset or painting a picture in the minds of the average Nigerian as to the debilitating residue or after effect of what it would be like under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In defense to the principal, to the president, they said that considering the kind of economic situation that was acquired from the previous administration because of the PR stunt that has already been in machination by the opposition, no one is trying to give President Bola Ahmed Tinubu a little lifespan to see how he can quell or curb the supposed fragile circumstance or the fragile economic situation that had been placed by his predecessor. Now, others believe that the CSU certificate situation also mention of his whatever drug peddling activities, which according to the president has not been proven by any court, whether here or outside the country. The supposed files that the FBI said they were going to release on him, which was actually released, even if his name was redacted. And all of that imbroglio were deliberate PR stunts by his opposition to sell a wrong narrative about the president and paint him in a certain light that no one is even trying to give him an alternative to see possibly how his administration will go on a level playing field. Do you believe that's the case?
Esther, please, the people that you mentioned their name, who are they? Is it the same Kiamo who was the best in prosecuting Tinubu some years back? Is it the same person that is telling us now that Tinubu is a saint? How can you such a person and his statement? Why can you take it serious? You know very well that the Festus Kiamo is not something you can believe. He is speaking from both sides of his mouth. In his inner sense, in his inner consciousness, he knows the truth. He knows all this no court has been proven, no court has been proven. Is that the meat of the matter? The fact remains that an allegation was leveled with an embarrassing evidence. Instead of Kiamo and his cohort to tell their principal to clear his name, they are covering him, making sure that the public does not get to know the truth. Is that how to defend the principal? In the mind of every media, they know who Tinubu is. Whether the Supreme Court rule or not, it cannot wish away. Nobody can wish it away. No amount of propaganda will clean Tinubu's name in the mind of Nigerian people, and that is why people are not even interested in his administration. In the first place, since he came into office, mention one policy statement he has that came to pass. Has he not been reversing himself? Please, has he not been reversing himself? All the things he said, mention any of them that have come to pass. Under his watch, Naira is suffering embarrassing bashing against the dollar. So what is that thing that the Keyamo said now that we should be happy about? Did anybody stop Tinubu from improving the economy if he knows what to do? If he knows what to do you need anybody to tell you what to do? What is the only Tinubu is his person. I'm telling you, in the consciousness of Tinubu, he's not happy that his past has been exposed. And he can never concentrate. Because each time he remembers it, his mind will jump up. All this one that we are saying here now, what happens if he goes abroad tomorrow and Western press confronts him? Will the first of Kiamo go there and saw Western press? So there are a lot of baggages Tinubu is carrying, and this thing will continue to haunt him. People like Tinubu cannot stop it. Except the Tinubu clears his name, it will continue to haunt him. I wanted to give you an example. What happened in Imo State in 2019? Is that not what the Supreme Court is trying to rule now? How Uzodinma became the governor of Imo State? You know, is that not what they're trying? After 4 years, they want to now look into the matter because the evidence is very clear. How did the whole Uzodinma become the governor of Imo State when Rochas Okorocha's son-in-law was the candidate of APC?
All right.
You don't have two candidates in a particular election.
All right, Mr. Darlington. Mr. Darlington, I actually want us to talk on one or two issues before we wrap up the world news at 6.
Please, people like you press people, stop listening to them.
Will you stop listening to them?
Putting us into more problem.
It's our job. We have to take both sides. We cannot just have a particular point of view when we're doing the news. It has to be balanced. We have to give a balanced report.
Their own side is becoming infamy.
All right, Mr. Darlington, I need you to listen, please. In 2007, right, about 15 parties came together and they formed the Action Congress. That was a major political party, but the party made little or no impact on the presidential election at the time. Now, before the 2011 elections, the Action Congress of Nigeria, the Congress for Progressive Change, and the All Nigeria People's Party attempted to join forces in order to field a joint presidential candidate to challenge President Goodluck Jonathan of the PDP then. The move, of course, fell like a pack of cards when the parties could not reach an agreement on who to field. All right. Now, while the CPC fielded Major General Muhammadu Buhari of the ACN, they handed its ticket to Nuhu Ribadu. But before then, Buhari had pulled out of the ANPP, on which platform he contested the presidential seat in 2003 and 2007. Now, after the 2011 elections, leaders of the merging parties kick-started another move and they set up various committees. This highlighted the moves, and when 11 progressive governors drawn from the 6 geopolitical zones stormed Lagos in February in support of measure efforts and vowed to rescue Nigeria from the PDP. And that was how the APC was formed, all right, which there was a successful jettisoning of their identities and differences to merge the APC. Now, other critics believe that the PDP should be strategic for 2027 as well as the Labour Party. Do you think that for any other political party to upturn the Regional Progressives Congress, a huge merge has to happen, just like what happened, before President Buhari became the presidential candidate of the merged APC? That was in 2015. This whole process started from 2011. Do you think that the PDP and the Labour Party should merge? Do you think that the Peter Obi of the Labour Party should join the People's Democratic Party strategically? This is what they call strategic positioning, and possibly be fielded as a presidential candidate? Because a couple of people think that the Labour Party may not actually have a stronghold in 2027 with how things are ongoing at the moment. There is a split, especially in Delta State, and elections are coming up. Off-cycle elections are coming up tomorrow. And already not in Delta State, in Bayelsa, Dioediri is a governorship candidate for PDP there. You have 4 different groups, and according to the groups, according to the Labour Party there, they're saying that the PDP had bribed them with about 100 million naira each for them to support the People's Democratic Party. You also have Lamidi Abubakar trying to create chaos in Imo State. So in order to avoid all of these porosities within the party, do you think a merge would actually help the party grow and possibly upturn the Regional Progressives Congress in 2027? What's your take on that?
When Nigerian people are tired, nobody will tell them to jettison APC. I am telling you, APC, in a free and fair election, APC cannot win even 1,000 votes. They cannot. How do you think that APC has done this, they have done that? Are they winning an election in a genuine manner? Look at what is going on in Imo State now. Opus Odimma doesn't want any opposition. He has bought all the hotels, removed all the billboard, using a state power for muscle opposition. Please, is that what you call victory? You saw what happened during the last election. Is that what you call? Are you telling me that the opposition should start behaving like APC in order to win election? Do you know that if they start behaving like that, Nigeria will implode? Are you aware? People should not be looking at the propaganda and the violent nature of APC. They know why they are behaving like that. That's the only way they can win election.
Okay, so what are you saying? What I was asking you is, do you think there should be a major merger to upturn the APC?
Yes. The Labour Party, as they have their presidential candidate as P2B. P2B should remain where he is.
We do not know if by 2027 he will be the presidential candidate. We don't know that yet.
Yes, now from what is going on now, they know that P2B was cheated. So there will be sympathy vote for him in 2027. That is what I'm telling you. There will be sympathy vote for him. And with the baggage the Tinubu is carrying and what the peace have done so far, Nigerian people will not make another mistake in 2027. Quote me. They will not make another mistake. If there should be free and fair election, APC cannot win an election in Nigeria. I am telling you authoritatively. Even there they say they know. That is why they are using every violent means. Is that what you call victory? Please answer. The way APC has come into in the last two dispensations under Buhari and under Tinubu, is that what you call victory? Is that what you call victory? You know it's not victory now. Nigerian people are not happy that their vote did not count. So let nobody be deceived that the APC won election. They never won any election. They did not.
All right. So you're saying that what the intelligence community is saying concerning warning the Supreme Court, would you suggest that the Supreme Court should go by that already, since they've already given their verdict?
Come again.
The intelligence community warning the Nigerian Supreme Court to, do what they're asking, to possibly see how they can obtain the win of the president. I'm asking you, now that he has been affirmed, do you think there's any possible way that can happen with what is already occurred?
Intelligence community, please. I have told you, they are just blowing hot air. If they really meant what they were doing, they should have done it before now. The intelligence community, is it not FBI and CIA and US?
Yes.
Yeah, so what are they coming to say now? That is medicine after death now. Nobody should take those people serious. They are part of the problem. They cannot tell me that, they knew exactly what happened and they kept quiet. Even the man in question, why are they retracting his name from the document they released? If they are really serious, if they are sincere, why are they trying to share the Tinubu? That is my question. If Tinubu were to be an American citizen or an American president, will they share him in this manner? Will they protect him in this manner? Will they cover him? You and I know the answer. So all this one that are warning Supreme Court now is a waste of time. The damage has been done. I don't see the Supreme Court to come into it, except somebody takes up the matter later. That's the only time anything can happen, but not intelligent community warning Supreme Court. What are they warning them for? I don't know the one that delayed this document up till now. Are they not the one? Are they not the one? So what? I should not be celebrating them, Abby. When the evidence was produced against Tinubu, what did they do? They tried to cover it. And even when they wanted to release the document, they said they would remove Tinubu. Okay, these other people that they are publishing their names, who are they? And all these Tinubu acolytes that their names have been mentioned, why are they mentioning their name and then sharing that of Tinubu? If they did not get anything from Tinubu, why are they trying to give everything to protect him? So that warning is useless to me. It's useless.
All right, Mr. Darlington, thank you so much for your contribution on the World News at 6. I sincerely do appreciate your input this evening.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
And have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you. Now, moving on, explosions have been reported at near several hospitals north of the Gaza Strip throughout today. In one instance, footage shows tanks firing near Children's Hospital, Ranitsi, inside of which civilians say they are trapped. Another video investigated by the BBC Verify shows a woman filming herself at Al-Ransi saying it's besieged by Israeli forces. Israel has confirmed its military is operating close to Al-Shifa, the biggest hospital in Gaza City, where explosions and shelling have also been heard. The Israel Defense Forces, that is the IDF, has repeatedly accused Hamas of operating from tunnels underneath Al-Shifa, which Hamas denies. Israel began striking Gaza after the Hamas attacks on the 7th of October, which saw 1,400 people killed and more than 200 taken hostage. More than 11,000 people have been killed in Gaza since, and this is according to the Hamas-run health ministry, including more than 4,500 children. Right now, the spokesperson for Israel's Defense Forces, Richard Hett, says the military does not fire on hospitals, but they will do what needs to be done if Hamas is firing from hospital grounds. To wrap up the world news at 6, here again are the top stories. Court stops NLC TUC nationwide strike. NLC President Ajari reveals what happened in Imo State. Frank Mbagi's status report on Imo State. IGP orders investigation into alleged brutalization of NLC President Ajari. And Femi Fani-Kayode discloses obedience will be obsolete by 2027. That's a wrap on the World News at 6 right here in Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good evening and thank you for staying with us.